Hello friends, let us now learn some important points about the bladder injury. This bladder injury is of two types. One in extraperitoneal bladder injury or intraperitoneal bladder injury. In both these cases, the patient will not be able to pass the urine. Because of injury in both these patients, the patient is not able to pass the urine and the patient has no urge to pass the urine. Differentiating both of these is very important for the treatment. So if you were asked, most common cause of bladder injury is pelvic fracture. So in bladder rupture, whenever there is bladder rupture, there will be no distension of bladder, thus there will be no urge to pass the urine. And if the bladder is extraperitoneal and there is a fold of peritoneum which is covering the bladder. See, it is completely extraperitoneal, only the superior surface of the bladder is covered by a fold of peritoneum like this. Okay, so we will see some important points about extraperitoneal bladder injury and intraperitoneal bladder injury by writing the differences. Okay, first, extraperitoneal bladder injury, the most common mechanism being the pelvic fracture. It is associated with posterior urethral injury. So this extraperitoneal bladder injury is associated with posterior urethral injury. Then in this, the first, most commonly in extraperitoneal bladder injury, we will see presence of deep peritoneal hematoma. This is the bladder, this is the deep perineal space, this is the superficial perineal space. This is the deep perineal space, this is the superficial perineal space, the below. Yeah, this is the bladder. Now, most commonly it is associated with deep perineal hematoma. Right, so that is hematoma. Next, if we see the treatment of extraperitoneal bladder rupture, treatment is, we will have to first and foremost pass a Foley's catheter, and then you will have to keep the Foley's catheter for 10 to 12 days. Then the injury will actually heal on its own. So if it heals on its own, then it's just conservative treatment. But even after 7 to 10 days of putting the catheter, if the injury persists, or if the bone fragment if there is bony fragment in the bladder from pelvic fracture, then you will have to do open repair. Okay, so that is extraperitoneal bladder injury. Then after extraperitoneal bladder injury, we will have to learn about intraperitoneal bladder injury. The mechanism is, it is whenever there is distended bladder and there is blow in the suprapubic region, then it causes intraperitoneal bladder injury. Here this will lead to penetrating trauma. It is not associated with urethral injury or pelvic fractures. In this intraperitoneal bladder injury, you will see the signs of peritonitis. Then in intraperitoneal bladder rupture, you cannot do any conservative management. You will have to do surgical exploration should be done with 2-0 vicryl suture. We will have to do surgical exploration should be done. Then in extraperitoneal bladder rupture, on dye scan you will see presence of flame shaped extravasations of contrast is seen. This will show pear shaped bladder, and on CT scan you will see molar tooth bladder. So these molar tooth bladder and pear shaped bladder on dye scan is seen in extraperitoneal bladder rupture. The next important injury is the urethral injury. In the urethral injury, the main clinical feature is presence of blood at the meatus. So This occurs due to road traffic accidents. Road traffic accident causes distension of the bladder or palpable bladder. It can cause distended or palpable bladder, or whenever there is severe urge to pass the urine, or if you see the patient coming to you with blood at meatus. If he comes to you with either of these symptoms after a road traffic accident, we should do retrograde urethrogram. And in retrograde urethrogram, if you see that the injury is present, then in the presence of injury we should do a suprapubic catheterization is present. If there is no injury, then you should pass a catheter and put it for 2 days. If there is injury, then we should do suprapubic catheterization. Now this is the bladder, that is the pubic symphysis, abdomen. Now from above the pubic bone you will pass a catheter above the pubic bone, and this catheter is called as suprapubic catheterization. Right. Next we have urethral injuries. Urethral injuries can be divided into 2 types. One, we have posterior urethral injury. Second, anterior urethral injury. Posterior urethral injury is present posterior to the pelvic diaphragm, and this is associated with extraperitoneal bladder rupture, or it can be associated with pelvic fractures and deep perineal hematoma. Then if you see the in the posterior urethral injury, on per rectal examination you will not be able to palpate the prostate. So this prostate which is not palpated is called as high riding prostate, which is Verumontan sign or pie in sky appearance. So here this is the prostate, and here there is injury at the prostatomembranous junction. As a result, this prostate is not palpated on per rectal condition, and this prostate is called as, and this sign is called as Verumontan sign. Right. After this, in anterior urethral injuries, these anterior urethral injuries are not associated with bladder rupture, they are only associated with straddle injury. They are not associated with bladder rupture. So anterior urethral injury, one important thing in anterior urethral injury is presence of superficial perineal hematoma. Because of the injury, you will see presence of superficial perineal hematoma, which is butterfly shaped, is seen in anterior urethral injury. And if you do a per rectal examination, here the prostate is palpable in anterior urethral injury. So the main treatment is either it is anterior or posterior urethral injury, you will have to first and foremost do a suprapubic cystostomy. You will do a suprapubic cystostomy, and then after suprapubic cystostomy you will send the patient home for 4 to 6 weeks. Then after 4 to 6 weeks, during this time the injury tries to repair by itself through healing, and after 4 to 6 weeks you will have to repeat the retrograde urogram. Then after retrograde urogram, if the patient passes urine normally, then you can remove the catheter. If the patient has stricture and he could not pass the urine properly, then you will have to treat the stricture. Now once you have learnt about the bladder injuries and urethral injuries, one important thing is the they will give you a clinical scenario and you will have to identify it. So first scenario, a patient has come to you after road traffic accident. After 24 hours you have done abdominal examination which was found to be normal. Then you have found pelvic fracture and there is deep perineal hematoma. In such cases the diagnosis is extraperitoneal bladder rupture. Then the main sign here is pelvic fracture and presence of deep perineal hematoma. Both these are associated with extraperitoneal bladder rupture. Then second case scenario. In the second case scenario, the patient will come to you after road traffic accident after 24 hours and there is no passage of urine, and on abdominal examination you will see presence of peritonitis. You will see presence of peritonitis and there is no pelvic fracture. See, here the main feature is no passage of urine. So that tells there is bladder rupture, bladder injury. Second, peritonitis. Only when there is breach in the peritoneum, there will be peritonitis. So obviously it is rupturing the peritoneum. So this is intraperitoneal bladder rupture. Right? Now we have third scenario is patient came after road traffic accident after 8 hours. This is only 8 hours and he is not passing urine, but he has desire to pass the urine, and on abdominal, you have done abdominal examination, you have seen that there is palpable bladder is present. Palpable bladder is present and deep perineal hematoma is present along with pelvic fracture. Now, if you do a per-rectal examination, you will see the presence of prostate is not palpable on per-rectal examination. So, this is posterior urethral injury. Right? So, here the main things here are palpable bladder. So, that means distended bladder, pelvic fracture, deep perineal hematoma, and one striking feature is prostate not palpable. That means prostate is hanging up. So that is posterior urethral injury. Then fourth, here the patient has road traffic accident, and after road traffic accident after 8 hours he comes to you and there is no passage of urine, but there is severe desire, that is desire to pass the urine. Examination is, you will see palpable bladder is present, a small like an abdominal mass, and also you will see presence of butterfly shaped superficial perineal hematoma. Butterfly shaped superficial, that is superficial perineal hematoma is seen. On per rectal examination you will see the prostate is palpable. So this is anterior urethral injury, because the main features are butterfly shaped perineal hematoma, or per rectal examination if you see the prostate is not palpable. So all these are the main features suggesting the anterior urethral injury. So this is important, right? Now we have to learn about the urethral injuries. Okay, next topic. So most common cause of urethral injury is iatrogenic, especially in gynecological surgeries. So if you see the ureteral injury is mainly you have two types of ureteral injury: those associated with tissue loss, those associated without tissue loss. Now, investigation of choice for this ureteral injury is retrograde pyelography with contrast is done. Now, we will see the treatment options available for these ureteral injuries, but those treatment options mainly depend upon whether the injury is present in upper 1/3 or middle 1/3 or lower 1/3. So if you see, if the injury is present in the upper 1/3, then the best treatment of choice, so this is the kidney and here the injury is present in the upper 1/3. In such cases, the best treatment is, or treatment of choice is, doing ureterostomy with beveled ends. Okay, this is the treatment of choice for upper 1/3. Then we have one more alternative treatment where you will anastomose this ureter to the opposite ureter, thus forming transureterostomy. This is transureterostomy. Okay. Next we have in the injury in the middle one third. If there is in the injury in the middle one third, then you can do ureterostomy, which is treatment of choice. The alternative is you can do transureterostomy. Then in this situation you can do one more other technique, which is called as Bovary flap technique. Here you are removing this part of flap from the bladder and you will create a tube out of that flap, and this is called as Bovary's flap technique. And you have, so in the Bovary's flap technique, see, I will tell you again. So this is the bladder and this is the injured ureter. Now if you try to approximate these ends, these are not approximated, so you will have to make this, you will have to raise this flap and you will have to convert this flap into a tube like this. You are raising this flap and converting into a tube, and you will anastomose this part to this tube. Okay, so this flap is called as Bovary flap, and this technique is called as Bovary's flap technique. Right. Next, if the injury is in the lower one third, in such position you have to do closure of the stump and you will have to re-implant the ureter to the bladder. You have to close the stump and try to re-implant the ureter in the bladder. See, if this is the lower third like this, then you will have to close the stump and re-implant it into the bladder. If this is not possible, we have one more technique called as psoas hitch. In this psoas hitch, you have a bladder and this is the ureter, and this is the kidney, sorry, this is the kidney, this is ureter, and this is the bladder. Okay, and here there is an injury here. Okay, now you cannot bind these both easily because there is a large gap between them. In such cases, you will first pull the bladder up on that side. Okay, you will pull the bladder up. You will first and foremost make an incision here and do anterior neocystostomy. You will just make an incision so that this part of bladder can easily be pulled up. Okay, once you pull up the bladder like this, and you will close this incision, and now you will attach this part of bladder to the psoas major muscle, and you will attach this ureter to this bladder. So this technique is called as psoas hitch technique. Right. Then if there is complete loss of ureter, if there is complete ureteral loss, in such cases you will have to do an ileal reposition should be done, or you should do an auto transplantation. Even after all that, there is no chance to repair the ureter, then you will have to do a nephrectomy. So this is about the ureter injuries and the about the bladder injuries, urethral injuries and ureteral injuries. Thank you for watching.